Alright, so I swear this video is cursed because this is like the third time I've tried to make it. The first time I didn't like where my point of aim I felt it wasn't fair for the accuracy test, so I figured, okay, we'll do a second time. Well, the second time I forgot to bring my GoPro out, which wasn't a big deal. I was like, well, I'll just take a picture of the target and I'll use the older shooting footage. Well, turns out I actually deleted the older shooting footage, so here we go. This is the third time I'm going to be testing this. But anyways, today, what we will be testing is if the 380 barrel for the Altor 9 is even worth it in the first place. So, right here we have our Altor with, I don't believe I showed it off, but a new box. And I also got the holster and that bullet attachment because why not? Anyways, we'll be testing to see because as you guys are probably aware, now, they aren't the same case dimensions wise. Like the 380 is more straight wall, and the 9mm is more, I can't think of the word for it, cone shape. But anyways, yeah, they're not like perfectly the same. However, a 380 will chamber and fire in a 9mm, and normally for semi-automatics this is going to cause jamming. It's even not good for revolvers because of the before mentioned case issue. It's just you get a lower FPS and all that stuff. But this is an Altor 9. I mean, it's a $100 pistol. A lot of that stuff kind of doesn't matter. So anyways, on with our question, given the single-shot nature of the pistol and all that, is the 380 barrel worth it? So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the range. We'll have two targets side by side. We'll fire about 25 rounds through the 380 and 25 through the 9mm. Now, the reason for such a high round count is I've got a decent amount of practice on this thing. Actually, I've probably got the most practice out of anyone on this planet. But still, though, I kind of need a good warm-up, so we'll kind of just fire off all those, and then we'll start to see it. We should start to see two groups, you know, and yeah, we'll just go off 25 rounds at an 11-yard target, and nothing too fancy, just whichever one has the tightest groups, and maybe if the 380 doesn't keyhole in one barrel, because if you do remember, in the last video we did on this, the 9mm was keyholing super bad through the regular 9mm barrel. And to be honest, looking at these barrels, it's almost as if they are rifled to the absolute bare minimum to you know, have rifling and be legal as a pistol. So with how the 9mm barrel performed, I highly doubt the 380 barrel is going to perform any better just with standard 380. So we'll be taking a look at, you know, that too. But anyways, that's how we're going to do the test. Let's head out to the range for the third time and see what happens. Alright, so we have the targets at 11 yards, and we're going to be shooting the one on the left, which is the one we're actually shooting right now, with the 380 barrel, and the one on the right with the 9mm barrel. Now, we are going to be firing at 21 rounds at each target, and the last single round is shooting to the berm, because, well, as mentioned, this video is cursed, and the box of ammo I bought, of course, is missing some rounds. Anyways, you'll see these first three shots, and then we're going to transition to the last three shots. I'm going to speed up some of this in a minute. I imagine you don't want to see me. You know, it's already bad enough speed-wise shooting this pistol with like 6 shots, and I imagine you don't want to see all 21 shots per target. And next up, we're now shooting the right target with the 9mm barrel. We are going to be showing, of course, the first 3 shots and the last 3 shots for this. Just an FYI, that guy was talking like the entire time that I was there. Like, I was there for 45 minutes. You know, I shot those 42 rounds to the Altor, and then I did some work on another video with the CX4. I was probably there for like 45 minutes, and he was talking for like 44 of those minutes. Just a funny little FYI. Anyways, though, the astute observer may have noticed that when we were shooting through the 9mm barrel, we actually fired off 8 shots as opposed to 6. And this is an important detail that we will get into a tiny bit later when we get our final conclusion for our test today. However, looking at it accuracy-wise, we have about 14 hits on the left target, which, remember, is the 380 barrel target, and on the right target, it looks to be about 19 or 20. There's one that's kind of throwing me off, if it's a keyhole or if it's a hit, or two hits right next to. They look like two hits right next to each other. I'll probably see it on the computer screen as one or the other. But about 19 to 20 hits on the right target. Now, I will say that when I would miss, it would be more so going left. So some of the misses, like, remember, we fired about 21 rounds. Some of those misses might have gone into that left target. That's, well, I guess that's not, I guess I probably should have checked individual targets, but it is looking like the 9mm barrel was a little more accurate. Also, though, do keep in mind that, as I mentioned, the reason that we were firing so many rounds for a group, in parentheses for this, is because this is a, at least for me, difficult pistol to shoot, so I kind of needed to get used to it while I was at the range. So keep in mind that, you know, honestly, I would almost say that these are pretty darn close to each other, and it's mainly due to that fact. Granted, the right, it does look a little bit tighter. Again, the Altor is a very weird pistol to shoot, but personally, I would say they do perform pretty darn close to the same, with the 9mm barrel appearing to be more accurate. However, that being said, well, we'll go into the IRL cam real quick. Alright, so we're on the IRL cam again. Actually, before I go into the next point I was going to bring up, for those wondering what happens when you fire a 380 through a 9mm barrel, this is a standard 380 casing right there, and this is what happens when you fire through a 9mm. As mentioned, the case dimensions are different, so it starts to kind of bulge out a little bit towards the middle. And then also, there is, of course, a little bit of gas leakage. This isn't the worst one, but you can kind of see where it does that. Anyways, the next point that I was going to bring up, because honestly, I still feel like that accuracy was close enough, especially considering we're talking about an Altor. The one thing I wanted to bring up was the Altor, if you have the 9mm barrel in, tends to have misfires. You'll notice that when I was firing it, which, by the way, it's clear, when I was pulling the trigger, you know, you would hear a click. I've put more than enough rounds to this thing. I know how to shoot it, so it's the issue there is two things actually. When you go to load a 380 into the into the gun, put it on there. Normally, you would actually pull that back. If you do pull it back, I don't know if I'm really be able to demonstrate it. While loading the gun, I can't really demonstrate it. It basically makes it to where the case kind of gets a bit loose. This isn't held firmly in place, and that's where we're getting those clicks. They were actually light strikes because, as mentioned, the case just kind of moves around. And this is something, as mentioned, I've had to do this video 2 other times and fired about 100 rounds of 380. Well, yeah, 50 rounds of 380 through each barrel prior to doing this. And that is one thing I noticed when you load the 380 into the 9mm barrel is it's not 100% going to fire all the time. So that is where, at least for me personally, I would say makes the 380 barrel actually worth it. Even though the accuracy did seem like it favored the 9, but it's pretty close enough for what this thing is. I would say the reliability of it, ensuring you're going to pull off each shot, and also assuming that you know how to pull the trigger back because it is a bit of a learning curve. I would say that does actually make the 380 barrel worth it. In fact, actually, just to add to the conclusion, I don't know that they sell these with the 380 barrel and not the 9mm barrel. If that's the case, I'll actually argue that the 9mm barrel is actually not worth it because shooting 9mm through this thing and 380 is night and day. I mean, it's still a terrible handgun. It's proof that the phrase "any gun's better than no gun" is not always 100% true. But that being said, this gun is a lot more comfortable to shoot with a 380 than it is a 9mm. Just wanted to add that there. But yeah, so in conclusion, I would say that the 380 barrel is more than worth it, actually, for the Altor pistol. Hope you all enjoyed the video as much as I personally enjoyed making it, and I will see y'all next time.